So I have a message for the Democrats and for the left on this. We're really not going to take your advice and move on. I know you want us to accept the result, accept that Biden won, move on, let the country heal, blah, blah, blah. And I want to explain why we're not remotely about to do that. First of all, this is not a case where there seems to be episodic evidence of irregularity or cheating, but rather systematic cheating. And I recognize that coronavirus created the opportunity, but that doesn't make any more of an excuse. The systematic cheating is operated kind of in 3 steps. First, flood the country with mail-in ballots. Just send them out there by the truckload, so to speak. Number 2, I noticed that in Democratic-controlled administrative areas, there's a kind of blockade. There has been an attempt to shut out close Republican observation of these ballots. And this prevents any kind of reliable checking to make sure that ballots are legal and that fraudulent ballots don't make their way through. We know that in cases where we're talking about dubious ballots with signatures that don't match and so on, the Democrats have literally fought for the right for those ballots to count, even though they may not be the signature, or at least a similar signature, to the guy who is supposed to be casting the ballot. And number 3, a declaration that there is no evidence of voter fraud, even though the system is set up in such a way that such evidence would be prevented from coming to light. In other words, the fraudulent ballots get lumped in with the good ballots, and it becomes very difficult then to separate them out unless you go through the whole process one by one. The Democrats here are operating pretty much in the same vein as they do on the issue of illegal aliens. Notice that even there, they conflate the difference between a legal immigrant and an illegal immigrant. And then if you criticize illegal immigration, they go, wait a minute, you're against immigrants. And similarly here, they conflate the idea of counting legal votes with counting illegal votes. And then if you raise any protest against the illegal votes, they go, you're against counting the vote. So clearly their notion of counting the vote includes fraudulent and illegal ballots, or so it would seem. Now, finally, a word about healing and moving on. Look, you can accept defeat. I can accept defeat. You can accept defeat if you know there was a fair fight and you lost. You got knocked out in the fight. You came in 6th in the race. But you did notice that everybody started on the same line. And then a gun went off, a clock went on, and the first guy deserves the gold medal. It is incumbent upon the people who organize the race to show that the race is fair. It's not enough for the winning side to go, oh yeah, the race is obviously fair. If you want healing to occur, then the people who organize the race have to demonstrate its fairness, have to convince the people on the losing side. In other words, the people who are being asked to accept the outcome must have a reasonable assurance that they are not being cheated. You can heal from a defeat, which it's part of maturity to learn to accept. But healing from being cheated is a whole other matter because there's no reason to believe that cheating will ever stop. So that's why we aren't moving on. We're pushing full speed ahead. We're trying to take this in its widest implications, and we will respond accordingly.